So in this episode today, you're going to learn about content. We're going to learn about what makes good content, what makes bad content. And then we're going to learn about some tips and some tricks that you can use to simplify your messaging. Okay, you ready? All right, welcome to Squad Talks, brought to you by Good Folks. You know what I love about Good Folks coffee? One hot cup of get up. Lauren, who do you have?
I have Heine Bros, which I actually got a cup from there yesterday. Drive-through is open, so that's nice.
So I want you to take a journey with me, okay? Imagine walking in someone's house. You walk through the front door, and then you're just smacked in the face with this smell. It's the smell of warm cookies being baked in the oven. Man, you know what I'm talking about. It's a smell that when you smell it, you're like, whoa, your stomach starts making noises and starts talking to your brain saying, I gotta have those cookies, right? We've been there. And then the cookies come out of the oven and you have to wait about 5 minutes before they get hard enough to eat. And when you're looking at the cookie, the outside is sort of real chewy, a little bit harder, but the inside's real warm and gooey, and it's nothing like that cookie. I mean, it's just amazing. And imagine you finally getting that cookie and you get to take a bite of it. I'm not going to bite it because I'm on a diet. But you take a bite and it's like, ugh, that's disgusting.
That's disappointing.
That's disappointing. Here's the problem. The cookie looks great. It smelled awesome in the oven. Problem was, guess what? I forgot to put sugar in it.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
But if you're on a diet, it's a good thing. But that is a problem. And today we're going to talk about content and what is content and making sure that we have the right ingredients in the sorts of messaging that people can put on their website or what be it.
The sugar.
Huh?
The sugar,
right? The sugar, right. So I want to introduce you to one of my most favorite people here at the squad. This is Lauren. And let me tell you why. When I write something here at the squad, whether it's a blog, it could be an email, it could be a proposal, I know that it is riddled with mistakes. I've overcomplicated it. My verb tense is off. And so what I do is I send it to Lauren, and she does her magic. Right?
It's magic.
It is magic. Based on the way I write, it's definitely magic. So I just appreciate her so much. And today we're going to tap in to some of that knowledge on what makes content great and what makes content not great. So here's the first question, Lauren.
All right.
When people say, what is content? What is copy? What is that? What does that mean?
Those are like the words that you would put on something. So content can be a lot of different things, but obviously the copy is like what goes into it that is the sugar to what you're doing. Honestly, I think like words are such a critical part of our world. Communication is key. I mean, you've heard that before. And so content can be a video, it can be a podcast, it can be a blog, it can be an email like you mentioned. But all of these things are like made better and made clear through the words that you use.
So basically anything you're communicating via digital or paper or even on video is content,
anything.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me this. Who are the people that create content? Because a lot of people think it's automatically has to be a writer. Who are the people that create content?
Well, everyone makes content. To some extent, everyone's a writer because you have to be. That's how you communicate. But, you know, as anyone is making content, that doesn't mean anyone is making good content.
So can a sales guy be good at writing content?
Yeah, for sure.
What about like in manufacturing you have an engineer or a technician? Are they good at writing content?
They can be, for sure.
They're good at giving you the right things to writing content,
Yes.
but you want to be able to simplify it, what
Yes.
they do to make it readable to
Yeah.
a seventh grader.
I think, like, I guess I would say, like, to pull from Pixar, you know, like Ratatouille, anyone can cook.
Ratatouille. That's a little mouse guy.
Yeah.
I like Ratatouille.
It's rat, but
Oh.
yeah. But
You like cookies? Sorry.
No, so I would say anyone can write. It's just understanding all the things that take that to make it great. And so sometimes, some people are more gifted in this area of writing and communication than others. Just like, I wouldn't be as gifted in, creating a graphic design. Writing comes a little bit more naturally to me, and
Right.
it's educated by, best practices.
So like for me, one of the things I've typically been good at is when I've got something I want to write about or talk about, I'm really good at getting that out. But putting it on paper and making it flow the right way, I'm not great at. And that's where someone like you can come in, someone like the Squad does for companies all the time, is helping massage that content to make it right and real and relevant. So tell me this, when you write content, whether it's say on the website or social media or what be it, do things like Google, when people search on Google or Bing or those sorts of search engines, does content matter?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Yeah, content is critical, especially like, so let's say you have a website and, you're like, oh, well, I can just put anything up. Or maybe someone says, oh, we need to have a lot of content going out, but maybe it's not great content. So there has to be a strategy to the content that's being put out, but the content that goes on your site is critical to whether someone decides to work with you or not.
So here's a thought. There's this rule, it's called the 5 to 10 second rule, that if someone goes to a website or they're watching a video or they're reading an email, you have to capture them in the first 5 to 10 seconds or they're going to bolt. They're going to take off. I am king of that, right? When someone sends me a long email and I'm bored after the first 3 seconds, I don't finish reading it. I get a Facebook post that's this long of all words, I get bored if it's not capturing me, if they're overcomplicating it. I see it all the time. I came from the world of IT services, right? It is in that space we love to overcomplicate and throw up everything we know about a product or a service because we think that makes us smart. Is that good?
No, and there's a couple reasons why. So one of the biggest things is that, you want to keep your writing simple and you want it to be easily digested by people. So I majored in journalism. One of the biggest things in journalism is that when you write an article, you want to have a lead because 90% of people are going to read that first lead, which is the first sentence in your article, and that's going to decide whether they read the rest of it. So in marketing, I tell people that for your headline, for the first sentence of your copy, that's the deciding factor between whether they read your copy, engage with your website, engage with who you are, or they walk away or close the tab and go to the next person. And so that I always try and think of. I spend significantly more time on a headline than I would the rest of the copy, honestly, because that's going to be the biggest pull and the biggest draw for people.
Yeah. So you majored in journalism? I majored in plagiarism. Oh, is that on camera? No, that's spot on. I think that's great because one of the things when I first came to the Squad is I wanted to introduce myself to different people and the Squad to different people. So my subject line was Snickers and pickles. Yeah, it really was.
Just capturing people's attention.
And people just wanted to know what was next, right? And I think that's the idea is you want to pull them in to see what's next. So what are some of the, okay, so we talked about what makes good content. It's digestible, it's simple, the message pulls on, tells, or solves a problem, for someone that's going on. Tell me, what are some examples of bad content? For the folks listening out here, the millions of viewers, tell them, what's
Why are you
bad
laughing?
content? Well, that's happy. I'm a happy guy.
So what is bad content? That's a good question. You know it when you see it. I think a lot of the times it's content that you don't engage with. It's content that you're not interested in. It's content, like you were talking about IT services. If you're an IT service and you are not speaking to your audience, but you're speaking about yourself in a way that your audience doesn't care, then that's bad content. So, you know, I talk about jargon a lot. Jargon would be words or phrases that, you know, you would know, it's common in your industry, but if you're talking to your neighbor, they have no idea what you mean.
So it's like there are internal words.
Yes.
Our acronyms.
Yeah.
You know?
Anything that, like, you might say, like a common phrase in marketing is CTA, but that's a call to action. You know, that would be a button that's calling someone to take an action that you want them to take.
Yeah.
But when we say CTA, not everyone gets that that's what that means.
Yeah. Here's a prime example. Here's a quick way to think about content. One of the companies that I used to work with, I won't name the company, from a sales perspective, a lot of the salespeople were embarrassed to send people to that website. Here's why. That company did some amazing things. I mean, great things globally. Problem was, you went to their website and you had no clue what they did.
Yeah.
It was full of marketing fluff and
Yep.
these cool buzzwords and a lot of internal acronyms, but the company did so many things that they couldn't figure out what they really did. And so when we would send a customer there, we'd always get a response back. So where do you want me to go in here? I'm confused. What do you do? Right?
Yeah.
And to me, you want to give the old grunt test. Are you familiar with the grunt test?
No.
Explain
it to me.
the grunt man. It's like caveman, right? And so the idea is if someone goes to a website, they have 5 to 10 seconds to be able to understand what you do, why you do it, and then how to get in contact with them. And so the grunt is that a caveman should be able to go there and be able to look at that and then grunt it back to you. That sounded like Cookie Monster, didn't it?
Yeah, a little
cookie.
bit. You're into the cookies today.
I am into cookies today.
It's probably the diet. You're like extra.
I'm on it. Yes, that is true.
Yeah,
That is true.
I mean, so one of the phrases, I'm sure you've heard of it, but one of the phrases that I like to say a lot with writing is keep it simple, stupid. So KISS, but it just means like keep it simple. Make sure that typically I think what I try to shoot for is like a 5th to 6th grade reading level, or even a 4th grade reading level. You want to make sure that people can process it quickly, that it doesn't burn. They're not burning calories trying to understand what you're saying or thinking too hard.
I love the phrase burning calories. And basically it's, I'm working too hard to figure out what you do and why you're important to me and stuff of that nature. One common mistake that I see in content, and even around the whole messaging piece, is so many companies think that they have to talk about themselves. So this website is a glorified company, and it gives me all this detail about me, the company, but they never say, hey, Mr. Customer, man, we understand your pain. We understand what you're going through, and we're going to help you solve that. We're going to do the things that you need to do. Companies don't do that. They're, we're the best place to work. We're been in business for 25 years, and So, do you have any? There's some tips, some ideas out there about how you can navigate the messaging in a website or copy that would help.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just like the you factor of like talking to your customer, getting into their head, what's going to matter to them. If the first couple sentences on your website talks about me and like what you like, if it's my website and I'm talking about me and what I do and how I can solve an issue, then there's going to be a problem because I'm not connecting with who the person is reading.
Right.
So I want to say you. What problem can I solve for you? Here's how you are going to be served by this. And so if you're not doing that, then you're probably going to lose people. One of the I love as a writer to think about power words, like words that pop off the screen that people see. And one of those words is you, because they're reading it as, like, if you're reading and it says you, you're like, oh, me.
Oh,
like
so
that's
they're
talking about
inserting
me.
themselves into the story.
Yes.
Nice.
And so, making the story about the person, I think that's a great way to think of it.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen is one, quit talking about yourself so much in your copy, right? Really talk about the customer's problems and how we can solve those sorts of things. And then I think one of the things we don't do enough of is challenging them to take an action, right? I want you to do this. I want you to call me. I want you to schedule a meeting. Leave your information here so I can call you back, right? I mean, those sorts of things.
Those call to actions that we were talking about.
Right. And so when we build websites, one of the things we like to do is put the call to actions all throughout the site to, entice people. Say, hey, if you want to do business with us to help solve this problem, just click here. And I think too many people take that for granted or don't do that enough, right? And I think ultimately in messaging, I love it. Like if you're watching a movie or reading a book, sometimes you get lost in that book and all of a sudden 3 hours is gone. You're like, where did that go, right?
Yeah.
So it's about getting people engaged and bringing them into the story. I think with messaging, we want to bring them in to that story so they can live that story with us. And I think you can do that in a 2-sentence, narrative of some kind, or it could be a blog, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here at the Squad, we love to do that. We have probably about 20 companies now where we're serving as their outsourced marketing arm. And you cover 6 or 7 of those companies now, and they rely on you to drive strategy, to make sure that their messaging and their content is really in line. And that's what I appreciate about what you do and your team does is helping guide our customers do that. Thank you for your time today. I love having you talk.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm sorry I didn't give you the cookie because it doesn't taste good. But I was a baker at Fuddruckers. Right out of school.
I
right?
did not know that.
I was 16 years old. They put a 16-year-old in charge of baking, right? So I baked bread for the hamburgers, but then I also baked cookies and brownies. I got so good at cracking eggs because I'd have to crack hundreds a day. I could crack 2 at one time. So I made you a cookie because I became really good at making. So I made you a real chocolate chip cookie.
Awesome.
And I even brought it my special little.
I'm not on a diet.
It's all
so.
about presentation. So when I make chocolate chip cookies, I make them really, really special and really good. So, and then I put them in this special box. So thank you for your help today so you can have a cookie.
I don't know why I feel nervous about this.
Don't feel nervous. It's a secure. Got her! Don't you love that? The spider. Thank you.
All right. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. This has been Squad Talks over coffee. Hey, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more, or if you just need help with your content, just call us, right? Call us, we can help you. If it's something that your company needs help with right now, with your messaging or branding or websites, just call me or call Bryce, and we'd love to talk to you.